Hi there. So thanks for joining me today, fourth graders. I hope you had a fantastic spring break. What we're going to be diving into for most of the month of April is we're going to be thinking a lot about the different kinds of questions that we are asked when we read a text and also what kind of questions we can ask for the text. Questions are so essential for us to be able to understand what's going on in the text, and they also help us understand what we know and what we don't know about a certain text. Um, so similar to like how remember the month of January, we took that month to talk about the way good readers think with being able to make inferences and synthesize information, use background knowledge or schema. This one we're going to just really focus in on questions because there's really all the questions that you're going to be asked whenever you read a text can really be put into four different categories. And as you go from fourth grade clear throughout high school and even beyond to college or in the real world and in the workplace, you're still going to be asked questions when you read texts. And so if we can think about the four different types of questions, and when we look at a question, identify the type of question it is, then it might help us better be able to use our resources to find the answer to that question. So there's four types of questions. There are questions that are right there, where the answer is right there in the text. There are questions that you have to think and search to find the answer. There's questions where the answer is between the author and you. And then there's questions that are all on your own. And we call this the question-answer relationship, or what's the relationship between the question and the answer is kind of how I like to think about it. So you'll see this right here. So there's the right there go question, right there questions, think and search questions, author and you, and on my own. So what we're going to focus on in this one specifically is just the right there questions. So we're going to kind of do right there questions, think and search questions, author and you questions, and then on my own questions, kind of each a day, and then start using them, mixing and matching. So here are the right there questions. Right there questions, they are generally the simplest type of questions. They're questions that are found right there in the story. So it says with right there questions, the answer is in one place in the text. Words from the questions and words that answer the question are often right there in the same sentence. So generally, you don't have to do extra inferencing or synthesizing. These aren't questions that take a whole lot of extra brain processing power. These questions really just require someone who is willing to be diligent and look in the text to be able to find the answer. So with this one, to find right there questions, the key method to find right there questions is you can just remember it if you feel you have a pretty strong recall. But generally, I like to recommend, especially if it's on a test or something, going back and scanning or rereading part of the text. That's your key method for being able to find those right there questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of right there questions from Harry Potter, and then I'm going to, for your assignment today, ask a few right there questions for the Hope Chest, and then you will need to answer those right there questions and then add your own right there question. So let's look at the Harry Potter ones. So remember my right there questions for Harry Potter, and I'll just put this on this other page so we can just remember what we're talking about here. These questions that I made for Harry Potter are answers that are found right there in the text. You don't have to go and do extra processing or figuring things out. You're not having to make these big connections across text. You just have to go and find a specific detail from the text. So examples from Harry Potter. The first one is, what house was Harry sorted into? You're probably remembering that the house he was sorted into was Gryffindor. Not Friffindor, Gryffindor. And if you couldn't remember that, your strategy, your method would be, okay, I'm going to go back to the text. Okay, the hat, that was where the sorting hat, so that was right after they got to Hogwarts, and you would go and find that chapter, and then you could go back and scan to remember that Harry was sorted into Gryffindor. But again, you don't have to use extra processing, extra thinking to solve this. You just have to go and find the answer right there, specifically in the text. So this next one, what must the Gryffindors pass through to get to their dormitories or to their rooms or their common area? What do the people in Gryffindor have to go through to get to their living space? And if I don't remember, I'd have to go back and find that. And that would probably be in the sorting hat chapter again too, because right after they got sorted, they were walked up to their rooms, and they have to go through a painting, and the painting is of the fat lady or the fat woman. I can't remember what they call her. Is that what they call her? Check real quick. Yes, I just went and checked. It is the fat lady. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but it's the painting of the fat lady. That's how they get to their dorms. So with that, if I just said a painting, would that be a very quality answer? It would be correct, right? But Hogwarts has lots of paintings, and it's made that clear from when they're walking around the castle the first time. So painting would be an okay answer, but to get very specific would be painting of the fat lady. Next one. During their first broom lesson, what did Harry try to take back that Malfoy had stolen? So you can remember Malfoy had stolen something from Neville, and then Harry goes to get it back from him, and what was it? So in this case, we could say the answer was, and if I didn't remember, I could go back and look in the text, I could say the answer was a ball. But there was a more specific name for it. And so again, these answers kind of, there's general answers, but if you can get more specific, then that's a more accurate and better answer. So it was the Remembrall. It's a ball that helps you remember. So it was, and then I could say a Remembrall, but I could also add on to there to make it even more specific that it was Neville's Remembrall. Or I could say it was Neville's Remembrall that his grandmother had sent him. So any of those answers technically are correct, but the more specific we can get, the better. So ball probably wouldn't work. Remembrall or Neville's Remembrall would be a great answer, or to say Neville's Remembrall that his grandmother had sent him would be a fantastic answer. So what I want you to do for this one is just to be thinking of how you can answer questions that are right there in the text. And so for today's assignment, I'm going to provide you 2 Hope Chest questions that are found right there in the text, and I want you to type your own right there question with its own answer. So thanks so much for watching, and good luck.